Well, I have waited an entire year to come back and get in touch with my youth and embrace my childhood self and enjoy the fun and folly of Centerville, the amusement park here on Center Island in Toronto. But as you can see, that sign behind me says that it's closed for the season. It says that it's going to reopen next May, but in all honesty, I don't know if that's going to happen. This place has been open since 1967, and it is, as far as I know, it's never missed opening for a season until this year. Thank you, pandemic. Another thing you've affected negatively, for me personally. So, before she closes down for good, if that happens, let's take a look at it in a way that you never really get to see it if you've been here before, and that's devoid of people. So let's take a look around Centerville. Well, this was now I can't remember because I haven't ridden it since I was probably 9 years old. This was either the Bumblebee ride or the Ladybug ride. Either way, you would never know because all of the insects that you'd ride on are gone. And this is one of the first things you see when you walk in to Centerville. It's the courthouse and town hall. And it says that it was incorporated in 1867, but I'm going to let you in on a secret. That's not true. Centerville was actually incorporated in 1967. So since we're here, why not give you a little bit of a history about Centerville Amusement Park? This park has been operated by the Beasley family since 1967. Centerville was actually built as part of a master plan to convert the Toronto Island's land usage from cottage residences to recreational uses. The park replaced the old Sunnyside Amusement Park, which closed in 1955, as well as Hanlon's Point Amusement Park, which closed in the 1930s to make way for the Island Airport. This is the 1870s cast iron planter that was put here to commemorate Queen Victoria's birthday. That was originally located in front of St. Lawrence Market, and it's now featured here in the center of the park. One of my favorite things here at Centerville has always been the train. And sadly, it was closed last year due to flooding. So it hasn't been open for a few years, and you can see that the tracks are starting to get a little unkempt and overgrown. And it makes you wonder if, even if this does open up, this amusement park, will the train ride come back? And more clues to the railroad that used to run, well, it still runs through Centerville, but as you can see, she's barely holding on. And every time I see this sign, I want to walk over the bridge. I'm not going to do it today, though. I'm not feeling dangerous, so I'll let the poor bridge live its life without me stepping all over it. Really pretty around here, though. Obviously, I haven't been able to make my way to the desert or any ghost towns out in the west this year, but being here at Centerville is making me feel a little bit better when I see things like this. I've never actually known what function these places serve, other than being miniature houses for visitors to gawk at. And that little lamppost right there would have held the sign to probably Not probably, it is my favorite ride in this entire place. The Haunted Barrel Works. Right in there, all shuttered up. But beyond those wooden shutters is one of the best rides that has ever existed. Now, full disclosure, I used to ride this incessantly when I was a kid. And what's even more amazing is that not a single thing has changed about this ride since I used to come here in the 1980s with my mom and dad. It's got basically everything you could ever want as a kid. A skeleton, a jumping head, throw in some noises and alarms, and whatever the heck that is. You know, I have never known what that is. And the fact that they haven't Windexed that window in about 30 years means I may never know. I think the fact that they haven't lifted a finger to clean this place kind of adds to the entire experience of this 3-minute ride, especially in this day and age filled with fear of dirt, grime, and viruses. What is that? A burnt person? That's just weird. Another mummy-type creature thrown in here. And nothing more terrifying than a guillotine. Off with his head, finishing everything off with some haunted barrels. And I'm not sure if they have, because I've noticed as I'm walking around this entire park that all the signs for the rides have been removed, and I'm not sure if that is the park maintenance removing those signs, or if people have stolen the signs since it has not reopened. But I'm going to give the park the benefit of the doubt and say that they've been removed for safe storage. And just some further confirmation. This is an old sign. We're sorry due to the flood. The Centerville train ride is closed. Well, a lot has happened since the flood. In fact, 3 years have passed since the flood. So the question is, will I ever stand in this line to get on the train ride ever again? And just some giant Muskoka chairs all lined up. No giants here at Centerville this summer. And just in that building right there, that is the entrance to the livery car ride. And you would have gone around this track. Again, a ride for children, but that's never stopped me as an adult. Don't let society ever make you feel like you can't be a kid. And as I was walking around the park, I noticed something hiding over here in the corner. And you know what that is? That's the train. That is the train that brings you all around the park. Just under those tarps. Boy, did that bring me a lot of joy as a kid and as an adult. So it's quite sad to see it just sitting there lonely, all covered up. I'm gonna go see if I can get a closer look, maybe even touch it. And yep, just as I suspected, this is the train. There's a bit of an opening here in the tarp, so let's take a peek inside. What's there? Some signage just to let you know that when the train's moving, you gotta keep safe. And this was Centerville's lone Ferris wheel, because let's get real, are you actually a theme park if you do not have a Ferris wheel? And this one looks like a windmill. This Ferris wheel was actually acquired from Crystal Beach Park in Fort Erie, Ontario in 1989. So she's been here for quite a few decades already. And this was the mini teacup ride. I actually think the teacups are still there underneath those tarps. After a winter and almost an entire summer now, these teacups are gonna need some cleaning up when and if this park ever reopens. And right under that, behind that facade, is the pièce de résistance of this entire theme park. That is the carousel. It's a 1907 vintage carousel made by the Denzel Carousel Company, one of 150 of this type that still remains in operation. It was acquired from Bushkill Park in Easton, Pennsylvania. Its 52 hand-carved animals include cats, an ostrich, pigs, a lion, and rabbits instead of the more common style consisting primarily of horses. Another one of my favorites here is this. I don't actually think it has a name other than the log flume ride. It has been, well, emptied out mostly of the water that would flow through here and take you up for quite the ride, albeit a wet one. And you'd go right up on the top there and you'd come down there. One of the original attractions here at Centerville. And in my summation, the absolute pinnacle and height of when theme parks were at their best is when they had log flume rides. Sadly, they're all going. So this one is almost extinct. The first rule of the log flume ride is this: no hats or sunglasses, or perhaps that's two rules in one. Either way, it's a bad idea if you've ever ridden one of these to wear either. And I've definitely lost more than a hat or two. You see, as a kid, I never learned my lesson. Here's another overview of the ride. And right about that point is where you would have got a nice splash. And you would have been patting the water off you as you rounded that corner and floated in to the exit here. And if rides weren't enough to satiate your hunger for fun, then Centerville also offered a mini putt option. And I gotta be honest, I was here last year and it didn't look much different. It was in not great shape. And time is now the enemy for this place as it sits disused. I'll make one little point here. Between all of the holes, you see there's some greenery growing in there on the asphalt, but these were water hazards back in the day, and it pretty much covered the entire golf course between putts. And over the years, they have left it empty because, let's get real, there is absolutely no way to avoid a lot of balls going in there, especially if you're a first-time mini putter. So to save time, effort, and balls, they just emptied it out. Made it simpler for everyone to be able to go in there and retrieve your ball yourself instead of asking for help. And inside that barn-like structure, a roundhouse, within that building sits the Scrambler. Some snot-nosed kid last year referred to as a cheap thrill ride. And you know what, kid? You're wrong. You're dead wrong, because the Scrambler was a whole lot of fun. Basically, you'd get inside and you'd climb on this steel contraption, and they'd switch off the lights and they'd spin you around real fast and blare 1980s hits. I mean, there's nothing cheap about that. I will take that any day of the week.
And believe it or not, but the Scrambler right here in Centerville had a starring role in a scene in the 2011 movie Take This Waltz, starring Michelle Williams and Seth Rogen, and written, produced, and directed by Canadian screen goddess Sarah Polley. Yeah, how cool is that?
And this shuttered blue building was where the bumper cars were. And I assume that all the bumper cars are in there, behind that garage door, ready to be ridden till another season. And one of the rides that still has its sign up, the Mine Coaster, which is Centerville's only roller coaster. I'm going to put that in quotes because it's not much of a roller coaster. It's pretty small. This whole theme park is pretty much for children, but this one is especially for kids. Although, let's get real, I'd still give it a go. Well, that's it for me. I'm going to have to say goodbye to Centerville, and I hope you enjoyed the visit. A sad, like I have tears in my eyes. If you could actually look behind my glasses, there are tears welling up in these eyes. A sad reminder of the pandemic. And I really hope that this place opens up again and comes back better than ever. But for now, it's Obscurist Tourist saying goodbye. And until next time, see you later.